this is 365801 and this is part of my hashtag 25 days of manga video series, and I have chosen today the candy cane prompt, which is to read a manga with red on the cover. Well, it was probably one of the most read, other than Sweet Blood, I think, in my collection. And I haven't read it, so I've chosen King of Debt by Sanae Rokuya, and this is an 801 title that was published way back in January 2008, and it kinda shows its age. The title and cover art kind of give you the wrong impression. The cover art's really quite good. I quite like the art on the cover, but inside I'm not really such a fan of Sanae Rokuya's artwork in general. It's quite angular, very sort of, well, if it was published in 2008, it's definitely of its time in the early 2000s. It's a series of short stories. That's not to say it's bad, it's just, yeah, it is what it is. Series of short stories. So the first one is about the King of Debt, and it's a two-parter, and then the rest they have like one-shots. So the first story is about one of the characters lends the other character money all the time, so he's kind of known as the King of Debt. And then of course the one who's lending the money ends up losing their job and running out of money, and so they're like, I really need to get the money back. And so when they go to find him, he actually has lots of money. He's got a fancy foreign car, he lives in a fancy apartment, he's got, you know, tailored suit, he's living the high life, but he's been doing that, just borrowing money just so he can keep going to see him. It just seems so silly. It's like not really a great premise for romance to blossom, but yeah, so there you go, that's it. They get together. What would you expect? I'm feeling very dismissive about it, but it was a really fast read, so, you know, at least. And I did, once again, even though I just read this a few days ago, I did have to go back and go, what was this about again? Oh, this one, yeah, not really memorable. So, like I said, you know, sometimes it's not bad that it's forgettable. It'll still stay in my collection. Anyway, there's another story about a boxer who trains to be a boxer. That kind of seems like it's it. Some guy who's his trainer used to be a great boxer and now doesn't do that, so he trains him instead. Yeah. And then there was a bear story where someone, this was an odd one, okay, this was an odd one. So there's a young man, and he lives on his own because his brother left him, but left him with a bear. And we're like, why did your brother leave you? Why are you on your own? Why are you having to look after yourself? I mean, he's not so young, but you kind of think he's probably, if he's still in high school, he's probably 16, 17 or 18, something like that. So you know, I'm an older woman, I'm thinking, why is he on his own? You know, who's looking after him? I'm not maternal in any way, but maternal instincts were kicking in, going, who's looking after this person? Why is he having to do this all on his own? I felt a bit concerned about him, and also how attached he was to this bear that his brother left him. Anyway, this guy turns up at his house and is like, I'm the bear. So the bear's gone and it's just this guy, and he ends up looking after the man and feeding him, and ends up of course having a relationship with him, which is just a bit odd. And then all of a sudden the bear man disappears, and the next day his sister turns up. So his brother went away and came back as his sister, which is never addressed in any way. It's not talked about at all. There's no, like, what? I don't know. Because you would think that would be an emotional thing to go through and to have to deal with. I didn't get it. Like, they didn't deal with it at all. They dealt with the fact that he thought this man was his toy bear. Anyway, so the guy turns up who's not the bear, all beaten up because the sister found out, or was like, what you been doing with my brother, and beat him up. It's just the weirdest story. But yeah, it didn't feel like as weird as you know, like, I thought it was a bit odd, but it didn't feel like that when I was reading it. But the whole his brother going away and coming back as his sister not being addressed in any way, like, did he know? Like, that was kind of a shocker for me. I was like, yeah, cool, but is he, you know, is the sister okay now? What happened to the sister? I don't know. Maybe that was what needed to happen, but it wasn't in any way addressed. But there you go. And then there was a couple of other stories. One of them was about hosts, and this was kind of funny because, as you'd expect from BL of this kind of time period and quality, there's a host who's a great host and obviously #1, and then this young guy comes in who is like, oh, you guys think you're brilliant hosts? Well, nuh-uh, I'm like brilliant, I'll be #1, I'll take your crown. And of course he's great, he's a really good natural host, so he ends up becoming #1 until you know, the #1 host, who was totally cool about the whole thing anyway, was like, yeah, great, congratulations, well done, you're #1 now. And of course #1 host now thinks this isn't fair, he's not in any way upset. And then it turns out that he's the son of a #1 host and the son of a #1 hostess, so he's a thoroughbred host. He's like purebred host material. So anyway, the previous #1 host is like, cool, see ya, and leaves and set up his own bar. And yeah, and then later on, many years later, #1 host shows up and is like, hey, cool, this isn't a host club. And he's like, no, it's just a normal bar. I made money so I could have a normal bar. I just liked that he did that. So I actually liked the previous #1 host, who kind of had a good attitude about life, you know. I worked hard, did this job, made some money, and now I own a bar. And it's just a normal, cool bar where I get to be, you know, in charge and run and own my own business. It was kind of odd. Like, what was the point? I don't know. But that's generally about the whole of this book, honestly. What was the point? What was the point? So, do I recommend this book to you? If you have a choice between this and something else, you know, go for that, whatever something else is. Save your money for something of a slightly higher quality. However, if you, like me, are collecting everything that ever existed and you feel the need you need to, then yeah. But only if it's a very, very good price. Low price, low. So, The King of Debt, it was red, and that was enough. Merry Christmas.